On today's one-to-one, we'll be talking with Elizabeth Sobol, who is the president and CEO of the Saratoga Performing Arts Center in Saratoga Springs, upstate New York. Elizabeth has a very rich background in the field. She is the former managing director of IMG Artists and the former president and CEO of Universal Classics, which is where she was before she started at SPAC. The Saratoga Performing Arts Center has a seating capacity of 5,200 plus a lawn capacity of 20,000. Hello, Elizabeth. Tell me when you had to announce that the festival was being canceled this summer.
Yeah, so we made the announcements in two sections. The first step in the big SPAC summer season is Jazz Fest, which is June. It was the last weekend in June of this year, and we went out with that announcement like right at the beginning of May. And then May 18 was the announcement for the SPAC, what we call the SPAC classical season, but it involves many more things than classical. So it was the New York City Ballet, Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center, Philadelphia Orchestra, our SPAC on Stage series, a lot of smaller theater and dance programming in the Spa Little Theater, our jazz live sessions at the Jazz Bar. So all of that, all the SPAC produced programming, as opposed to the LiveNation programming, got canceled in one fell swoop. People are asking us, well, why can't we hold on to our tickets for next summer and, just move us into 2021? And the problem is that, as you well know, if you're talking about the Philadelphia Orchestra and the New York City Ballet, it's not like next year's programs are necessarily going to be anything like this year was.
Right.
So we had to just dismantle it all, and we'll make it up again as soon as we feel we've got a foundation on which to rethink or reimagine next year.
What's the situation in Saratoga Springs? Are you all still walking around with masks?
In the city per se, people are being incredibly attentive to the restrictions. Certainly within indoors, and then the stores that are open, people are wearing masks everywhere. Obviously, there's the Spa State Park where SPAC sits, and a lot of people are able to get out into the park, but a lot of people are using masks even when they're outdoors. So there's a lot of sensitivity. We're actually working on protocols that we've submitted to do very, very small scale events. So we have a protocol, just literally like socially distanced parking, obviously contactless ticketing and admissions process, and coming into our lawn, sort of bypassing the amphitheater and just using what we call the Hall of Springs lawn, where we also have a small second stage there. Mm-hmm. And so our first wave of events that we are waiting for approval to do will be wellness events, because this community here that we're such an integral part of, a 30,000 person city, small city that is so dependent upon SPAC for tourism dollars, et cetera. Obviously the wellness community are getting hit really hard, just as the local musicians are. And we thought, well, if we can't open the amphitheater and do what SPAC is known for doing, what can we do to allow people to gather, to allow people to do things that are going to make them feel healthier and more whole and connected? And what can we also do to support the local community? So wellness seems like a great opportunity to allow practitioners who currently have no income because they can't gather in their studio spaces to come in and have everything laid out for them, have our fantastic ops team really overseeing all the adherence to social distancing and setting up the structure for that. And that hopefully, gives people a wonderful way to do yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, and also put some money in the pockets of the practitioners. We hope to get to a point where we will be able to do very small scale outdoor concerts around our wood stage. We have tons of picnic tables with buy a picnic table for the day and come have a picnic, listen to live music. We have fantastic new outdoor video screens that were put in last year. So we're looking at, they are very expensive to sort of reinstall and tee up. But we are looking at that as an opportunity to perhaps have a, New York City Ballet video festival rather, and have like video presentations of all the, the works that New York City Ballet would have performed if they were here in person. We're working with Cafe Lena, who have these stay home sessions that have become very, very popular very early. And they got their essential business status because they broadcast as a broadcaster.
And this is the cafe in downtown, right?
Yeah. It's a folk music venue originally, but they are just an unbelievable gem of a music presenter in downtown Saratoga. So we're partnering with them to do a 3-day virtual jazz fest.
So when this first hit in March, tell me what the procedure was. I mean, what did you have to lay off people or furlough people, and how did you cope with that? Start with.
We were very lucky in terms of when COVID hit. Our presenting colleagues up here, the Palace and all the other theaters had to just stop cold in the middle of March, and all revenue going away. And so we kept planning, we kept cautiously seeing how things were going to go and if there was going to be a possibility of salvaging anything for the summer. And then just as it was becoming quite clear that we were going to have to cancel the lion's share, if not the whole summer, then lo and behold, PPP popped up, and we got our maximum amount, and that has allowed us to keep our full staff on. We have a very small staff. We have 24 year-round employees. So I don't want to be draconian until I have to be. We dominate the city in so many ways, economic and otherwise. 53, now 54 years of memories and experiences. The whole city's psyche and DNA is impacted by the presence of SPAC and vice versa. And so the other thing about SPAC is that we are a performing arts organization, but we are also an inhabitant of this extraordinary park that has an amazing history, wellness history. It was the Spa State Park is where Governor Roosevelt started North America's first hydrotherapy spa. So there's this whole ethos of nature, stewardship of the earth, wellness, and that infuses what we do. And so the last couple of years, we've been really bringing those elements into what we do. And that's a big part of where we are going to be going in terms of expansion and depth of our programming.
But you have continued, from what I gather, to do a lot of your outreach work online.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
That's really through our education department. Over the last 3 years, our education program has grown from serving 5,000 kids to serving over 50,000 students around the capital region. And we really did not want that to go away. So when COVID started hitting, we were in the full throes of our Artists in the Schools program. And we didn't want to stop what we were doing. And we also did not want to take money away from the artists we were hiring to go into the schools. And so as we began to formulate the idea of the SPAC Learning Library, we reallocated all that money, and so have been paying like artists to create content for us to fill the virtual learning library.
So you all were already set up, or were you, before COVID hit, with the online classes? No, you were not.
No.
So you must have had to bring in professional producers? No.
All of that content has been done at home, mostly in the kitchens of my absolutely dazzling educational team.
What is the percentage of box office in terms of your income, or do you break it out classical from, because LiveNation is a strict rental?
It is. It's easy for me to kind of give you the following overview. So we're essentially a $10 million a year organization. And about 50% of that is earned income. So our own ticket sales, our LiveNation rent, and some other miscellaneous like rentals, you know, like graduations and other amphitheater rentals, and then some other miscellaneous sources of revenue. And then the other 5 million is through, you know, corporate sponsorships, charitable giving, and membership. On the revenue side, like most of the revenue will go away.
So now, in your previous life, IMG.
You know, I went from intern to managing director over 30 years. I did everything there was to do there. And I left in 2013.
To your colleagues in this business of ours, which has been blown a huge hit, what would you like to say in the way of advice or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's really important to remember that as new, you know, the word unprecedented keeps being used, but it isn't really unprecedented. I mean, particularly if you think back to World War II, you know, this isn't unprecedented, and the world and the arts have gone through very, very difficult periods before. I mean, World War II, devastating, and the arts came back. You know, the arts always come back. Is it going to be deeply painful? Yes, it's deeply painful for everybody right now. And I think that, not to sound too Pollyanna about it, I think that we owe it to each other and to our communities to not lose faith, to stay open, to you know, sort of jump into the unknowables with courage. And you know, it's utterly terrifying not to know, and in some ways it's actually liberating not to know, and it can even be exhilarating not to know, because it also gives us an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, to reimagine how we do business, to reimagine how we can become more relevant in times. I know in my own life, I crave solitude. I mean, I've never had so much of it, you know, until recently. And it's given me a lot of perspective, and there's been a lot of, amongst the suffering, there's also been a lot of beauty and a lot of insight. Stay big-hearted and large-minded and approach this without fear, and just walk into it believing in the importance of what we do in the world.